The moments that almost break you are the same moments that can finally make you real. Not polished, not perfect, real. You know the kind of pain I'm talking about, the quiet heaviness that follows you from room to room, the nights when your chest feels tight but you can't explain why, the days when you smile on the outside and feel nothing on the inside. What if the very pain you're trying to escape is not a curse, but a coded message, a doorway, a beginning? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to walk straight into that pain you hate, and you will start to see why the deepest wounds you carry might be the exact path to the person you were always meant to become. Imagine you're walking through life with a backpack on your shoulders. At first, it's light, manageable. You tell yourself, I'm fine. Years go by. More things get thrown into the backpack, a rejection you never processed, a breakup you never grieved, words someone said that still echo in your head, a childhood fear you promised you'd never feel again. You don't look inside. You just tighten the straps and keep walking. One day it feels like you can't take another step. Every small problem feels huge. Your energy is gone. Your hope is thin. And you think, there's something wrong with me. But what if there isn't? What if the backpack isn't just full of random stones? What if it's full of clues, signals, unopened letters from your unconscious, parts of you that are begging quietly and stubbornly to finally be seen? Psychologists like Carl Jung used a simple, powerful image for this inner world. He described the unconscious as a vast, deep ocean. On the surface, the part of you that plays roles, the version of you that goes to work, that says, I'm okay when someone asks, even when you're not. But beneath that surface, there is a whole other world. Memories you push down, emotions you didn't have time or safety to feel, instincts you learned to fear, dreams you decided were too much. Down there in that silent depth, pain is not an enemy. It's a lighthouse. Every ache, every sudden wave of sadness that seems to come from nowhere, every recurring conflict that shows up in different people's faces, all of it is the light from that inner lighthouse saying, there's something here you need to see. Maybe you felt that. You're fine all day. Then suddenly a small comment cuts too deep. You overreact, you withdraw, you shut down. On the surface it looks like a simple trigger, but underneath your unconscious is whispering, this isn't just about today. This is about that time you were ignored, that time you were abandoned, that time your needs didn't matter. The pain is not random, it is specific, precise, almost intelligent, not because life is cruel, but because a deeper part of you is trying to get your attention in the only way it knows how, by making it too painful to keep living the same way. We usually respond to this in two ways. We distract or we blame. We throw ourselves into work, scroll endlessly, numb out with food shows, alcohol, endless productivity, or we point fingers outward. It's my partner's fault. My parents messed me up. Life is unfair. God abandoned me. And listen, sometimes people really did hurt you. Sometimes life really was unfair. But there is a dangerous trap here. If pain always belongs to someone else, you never step into the one place you actually have power, inside. The shift is subtle but life-changing. From why did this happen to me to what is this trying to awaken in me? Let's slow this down. Ask yourself gently, what is the emotion I avoid the most? Is it sadness, shame, loneliness, anger? Which feeling do you quickly cover with jokes, work, or I'm busy? That feeling is not your enemy, it is a door. Behind that door sits a younger version of you, the you who didn't understand what was happening, the you who decided, this is my fault, the you who said, I'll never let myself feel this again. You don't have to blame that younger version. You don't have to hate them for how they coped. They did the best they could with what they had, but you are not that child anymore. You have more awareness now, more tools, more strength than you think. And your pain knows that. That's why it's knocking again. Jung used a powerful word for this journey: individuation. It's a big word for a very human process, becoming who you truly are. Not who the world told you to be, not who you think you should be, who you are underneath all of that. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You cannot become that person without meeting your pain on the way, because what you call pain is often just truth wearing a mask. It's the truth that you're exhausted from pretending, the truth that you want more than a life of constant pleasing, the truth that your soul is starving even if your calendar is full. We all carry a shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject or deny. Our fears, our messy desires, our jealousy, our hunger for love, our need to be seen. We push these into the dark because we want to appear good, easy, acceptable. But here's the paradox. What you push down doesn't disappear. It leaks. It leaks into your relationships, into your tone of voice, into your choices, into your dreams. The more you reject your shadow, the more it quietly controls you, like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The pressure builds, and eventually, it bursts to the surface in chaotic ways, explosions of anger, silent resentment, self-sabotage, anxiety that has no clear cause. The moment you turn toward your shadow instead of away from it, everything begins to shift. So how do you do that? How do you actually face what you've tried to avoid for years? Start with something simple. Listening. Not in a vague way, in a direct, honest way. When your chest tightens, don't immediately distract yourself. Pause. Place a hand over your heart. Take a slow breath. Ask quietly, what are you trying to tell me? You might not get a clear answer right away. Sometimes all you sense is heaviness, or anger, or fear. That's okay. You're learning a new language, the language of your own inner world. Keep asking. What situation does this feeling remind me of? When did I start feeling this way? What am I afraid will happen if I really feel this fully? These questions are not meant to torture you. They are meant to unlock you. The next step is one many people misunderstand: acceptance. Acceptance is not the same as resignation. It does not mean nothing will ever change. It does not mean this is fine. Acceptance simply means I see what is here. I admit that I feel this. I stop pretending I don't. Because what you resist persists. The more you fight your sadness, the darker it feels. The more you deny your anger, the more it explodes sideways. The more you say, I shouldn't feel this, the more trapped you become. But when you say, yes, this is here, this is mine, this is part of my story, something loosens. The feeling is no longer a monster chasing you. It's a messenger sitting beside you. You don't have to like it. You just have to stop running from it. From here comes the third step, integration. Integration means transforming pain into meaning. You might journal about what you're feeling, not to be poetic, just to be real. You might create something, a drawing, a song, a voice note, a prayer that gives your inner world a shape outside of your head. You might sit with someone you trust and say the thing you've never said out loud. Not to be dramatic, but to stop carrying it alone. These simple acts do something powerful. They turn your pain from a silent weight into an active teacher. The wound stops being just a wound. It becomes a doorway to boundaries, to honesty, to self-respect, to compassion for yourself and for others. And here's a surprising thing. The more honestly you face your own pain, the more you realize you are not alone. Everyone you pass on the street is carrying something, a broken promise, a fear, a loss. We live in a world that celebrates put-together people, but below the surface, we are all cracked in our own way. When you share your story not for attention but for connection, something beautiful happens. Shame starts to die. You hear someone say, I felt that too. I thought I was the only one. I've been carrying that same weight. And suddenly, your pain is not a prison. It's a bridge between two human hearts that were never meant to suffer in silence. Now there's another layer to this journey. It's not just about feelings, it's also about the life you're creating around those feelings. Jung believed that the outer world reflects the inner world. Look at your patterns. Do you keep choosing relationships with people who can't meet you? Do you stay in environments that drain you? Do you accept less than you know you deserve? These are not just bad habits, they are mirrors of your unhealed beliefs. I am not worthy of being chosen. If I speak up, I will be abandoned. If I rest, I am lazy. If I say no, I am selfish. These beliefs often start in childhood, but they write the script of your adult life. When you begin to heal the beliefs, the script changes. You stop chasing people who don't see you. You stop over-explaining your boundaries. You stop betraying yourself to keep the peace. Pain was the alarm. Healing is you finally turning it off, not by ignoring the sound, but by understanding what triggered it. There is one more piece that many of us struggle with: letting go. We hold on to people who left us emotionally years ago. We cling to identities that no longer fit. We keep replaying old memories like a movie we hate but can't stop watching. We tell ourselves, if I just think about it a little more, I'll finally understand. If I just stay a bit longer, they might change. If I just keep punishing myself, I'll pay off the past. But all that time, your hands are full of what hurts, full of what is over, full of what you cannot fix alone. Imagine standing in a river holding heavy rocks in both hands. The water is pulling you forward. Life is moving. New experiences, new people, new chances are flowing past you, but your fists are clenched around the old ones. Letting go is terrifying, because for a moment your hands are empty. No old story to cling to, no familiar pain to hide behind. Just space. But it's only when your hands are empty that they are free to receive something new. Letting go is not saying it didn't matter. It's saying it mattered deeply, but it no longer defines who I am becoming. As you do this inner work, something subtle but powerful happens. Your sense of guidance becomes clearer. You start noticing meaningful coincidences. Jung called them synchronicities. You think of a topic and the exact book you need shows up. You decide to work on a wound and you meet someone who has walked that path. You ask for clarity and a sentence in a random video hits you like it was written just for you. Are these magic? Maybe not in the fairy tale sense, but they are signs that your inner world and outer world are starting to align. The more present you are, the easier it is to recognize these gentle nudges. That's why silence matters, why stillness matters. Not the dramatic retreat in the mountains kind, just small daily moments where you pause. You sit with your breath. You put your phone down. You notice what you feel without judging it. In that quiet, you realize something. You are not as lost as you thought. The compass has always been there. It was just buried under noise. None of this means the journey will be clean or linear. You will have days where you feel powerful and clear. Then, suddenly, an old pattern returns. You snap at someone you love. You fall back into overthinking. You feel small again. It's easy to think I've failed. I'm back to zero. But healing rarely moves in straight lines. It moves in spirals. You revisit old pain, but from a slightly higher place, with a little more awareness, with a little more compassion. The wound that once swallowed you whole now stings, but doesn't define your entire day. That is progress. That is transformation quietly at work. Along the way, pay close attention to who walks beside you. Some people will not understand this journey. They prefer the old version of you, the one who didn't say no, who didn't set boundaries, who laughed things off, who didn't rock the boat. When you start honoring your truth, some relationships will shake. That's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign the foundation was not as solid as it seemed. Surround yourself with people who are not afraid of your depth, who can sit with your pain without trying to fix it immediately, who can celebrate your growth even when it inconveniences them. These connections might be fewer, but they will be real. And real connection is worth far more than endless, shallow approval. Now bring this back to something very simple. Your next decision, not your whole life plan, not your 5-year vision, just the next choice you will make today. Ask yourself, am I choosing from fear or from truth? Fear says, stay small, stay silent. Don't risk it, don't change. Truth says, this may hurt, this may be unknown, but this is honest. Every time you choose truth over automatic fear, you strengthen a new path in your mind. You tell your nervous system, it is safe to be real, it is safe to feel, it is safe to change. Transformation is not one huge dramatic moment. It's a series of small, quiet choices to no longer abandon yourself. Maybe your next choice is sending a message you're afraid to send, one that sets a boundary. Maybe it's booking a therapy session. Maybe it's closing your eyes for 3 minutes and actually feeling the sadness you've been outrunning. Maybe it's writing down the sentence, I am tired of pretending I'm okay when I'm not, and letting that be your starting point. Don't underestimate these small steps. They are not small. Each one is you recovering a piece of your soul from the places you left it. One day you will look back at the chapter you are living right now, and you will not just remember the pain. You will remember the moment you stopped running, the moment you realized nothing was wrong with you for feeling deeply, the moment you decided, if this hurt has come into my life, I will at least let it teach me something. I will not waste my suffering. On that day you will see the thread, how the heartbreak led you to self-respect, how the anxiety led you to inner work, how the loneliness led you to honesty, how the collapse of your old life opened space for a truer one. And here is the gentle twist. You may have thought that the goal was to get rid of pain forever, to become bulletproof, untouchable. All was calm, but real peace is not the absence of pain. Real peace is knowing what to do with pain when it comes. It is the quiet confidence that I can sit with this. I can listen to this. I can learn from this. I am more than this. Pain stops being a monster in the dark. It becomes a teacher you may not like, but one you can work with. And slowly life stops feeling like something that happens to you and starts feeling like something that grows with you. If these words are touching something inside you right now, don't let this just be another video you pass by. Pause. Ask yourself, what is one small, real action I can take today to honor the part of me that is hurting? Maybe it's sharing your story in the comments, not as a performance, but as a way to say, I'm here too. Maybe it's sending this video to someone you know is struggling silently so they remember they're not broken and they're not alone. Maybe it's subscribing and staying close to this space so you have a steady stream of reminders that your inner world matters and that there are tools, ideas, and reflections to help you walk this path a little less alone. Because this is not the last time we'll talk about this. In the next videos, we'll go even deeper into the specific patterns that quietly rule our lives, the hidden fears, the roles we cling to, and how to slowly rewrite them from the inside out. For now, remember this. Your pain is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that you are alive, that you are sensitive, that your soul refuses to go numb. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to have a perfect plan. You just need one brave decision to stop treating your pain as an enemy and start treating it as a guide. The journey won't always be easy, but it will be real, and you won't be walking it alone. Change begins with you, and it begins now.